You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday. And I am your host, Angela Smerito. And we have a guest co-host today that is none other than Emily Murphy with Elevate Health. Hi, Emily.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. Emily was my original partner in crime here. Also back to the show, our friend and show sponsor, Derrick Brantley with Enbalance Bodywork. Glad to have you back.
Glad to be here.
Okay, he walked in, he saw Emily, and he was like, am I here on the wrong day? I was like, nope, she's our guest co-host today. So excited to have you guys both in studio today. On my way in here, I was really thinking about today's show and the fact that you guys are both pretty much experts in health and wellness. And so I want to talk about pain today. And I don't mean like what not so much what causes pain, but the way pain affects our everyday lives. But before we jump into all of that, let's just give the audience a little brief introduction into your business. Emily, you want to talk about it? And so it is Elevate Health.
Yes, Elevate Health, and we are a virtual telehealth clinic, and I should know better, right? Let me bring this microphone closer.
There you go.
So we do hormones and functional lab testing and really dive in with people. We do thyroid optimization, nutrition, coaching, and weight loss.
Okay, perfect. And so, Derrick, we've had you on the show several times. So Enbalance Bodywork I know you are like the pain management specialist. So when I think of pain, I think of Derrick, and not in a bad way.
Yeah, chronic pain specialist. I mean, I'm a manual therapist. I do soft tissue manipulation for chronic pain. My background's in rehab, so I'm licensed massage therapist, but I have a lot of training certifications where I learned a technique in Canada, so I just basically get the nervous system to turn off pain receptors. It works. I book new clients every week, and I have to constantly find new people because they get better.
Right. So that is like, what did you call it? It's just like a funnel of when you're trying to put water through like a strainer, it just flows right through.
Yeah, try to fill up a strainer with water. That's my business.
But the method that you've learned, that you've learned up in Canada, that is the center point of your business, correct?
Yeah.
And what is that called again?
Rapid neurofascial reset.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what that means. Because
it's resetting the nervous system. So the highest concentration of pain receptors is on the outer layer of bone. So I'm stimulating those at a higher threshold. It's like just dragging against the bone. I do it over clothes. Just people would come to me like you would go to the gym. And I work over clothes, and I stimulate inflammation temporarily, and I get it to calm down, and then it resets the nervous system. So I'm turning off what needs to get turned off, and I turn back on what needs to get turned on.
Right. No, this makes sense to you, right?
It does. Complex neuroscience. Keep it super simple. Like I turn off pain.
I like the way that sounds.
And so it has to be done in each area of pain?
It can, yes. So like I follow with what you tell me what the issue is, and I follow the lines. So we have like fascial lines. So like, for example, plantar fasciitis, I do need to treat the foot, but I get into the calf and hamstring.
Okay, that's a foot. I've heard that like this past week. I've heard that in like a couple different conversations, and it mostly had to do with baseball. And then I think it was another person that was talking about track and field or something like that.
Runners, big time. Pain on the bottom of the foot, inflammation of the plantar fascia, but it's just the calf too. A lot of people like to go on Dr. Google and they diagnose themselves.
And they love Dr. Google.
Yeah, they come in like, I have this. We're like, you really don't, but I'll treat it anyway. You know,
we'll call it whatever you want to call it.
It's pain. It hurts.
But this is what it actually is.
But it's validating. When you find something on Google and you can put a name on it, at least it's, I'm not the only one. I'm not the broken one.
Right.
There's a lot of other people and they've named it. So.
But I found out that when you Google symptoms of stuff, it's like the first things that pop up are all the bad things. And then when you really you have to go through like 5 pages of stuff before you really are like, oh yeah, I did take Pepto-Bismol like yesterday. So that makes sense.
Well, it's really bad when people see their labs, like before we do lab reviews with them, and they start Googling just on little, markers that are just slightly off, and those ranges are crazy. And then next thing you know, like they have cancer or something, and they're like,
well, that's what that all leads to.
No, you're
going to die.
Dehydrated. You were dehydrated. Okay, right? Drink some water, Sally. Calm down.
Is dehydration something that affects with a lot of your patients as well?
They can spasm. People go into spasm when I work on them, so it's overuse dehydration. A lot of athletes will do that. They don't hydrate enough when they're doing extraneous exercise. I just tell people just move.
So how does hydration affect your muscles? You said that it makes it spasm?
They can spasm as dehydration or overuse. So I know athletes are not hydrating enough. So it's I see it happen. It's like squeezing a dry sponge. Fascia, like connective tissue, it needs to be wet. There's a famous researcher. He says we don't get old, we dry out.
Oh yeah, I totally.
They
get
say
that.
even between sleep and water and hydration. I mean, you can tell a difference in how somebody looks if they haven't slept in 3 days, 72 hours, or they've been low on water. Like they say, you can see it in facial expressions and everything.
I know that as I've gotten older that I've, like with the hydration, is that I don't hold it like I used to. I do still have some of the salt that, you know what I mean? Remember how you told me to put the pink salt in so that my body holds it a little bit better? So is anything, like all the drinks that they put out there that say they hydrate you, is it anything
they have
better?
The electrolytes in them,
Right.
so that they are helping your body at a cellular level maintain hydration.
Is it so they are actually true? There are drinks that can help hydrate you.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on those hydration drip things?
Oh, so I haven't actually done one myself at all.
You know what I'm talking about? Where
Yeah,
you sit
but
there
people
and
say
have
they
you ever
feel
done it where they
amazing.
drip the hydration into you? Like
The IV?
yeah. Have you done it?
I have not. I have a horrible aversion to needles, so I know it's beneficial, but I just
That's why Derrick hasn't come in for labs yet.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I just uncovered something here, huh?
I suck it up once a year for blood work just to make sure I'm no cancer. That's cool. Then I'll see you in
Right.
a year. I don't like needles, so.
But you're like the godfather of pain.
I can handle that. I just don't like needles in my arm. So
Okay.
it's
Well, I have a confession to make. My back's been hurting, and I've been scared to call you because I know you're gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt.
it gets better. I
Yes.
desensitize the nervous system. I work with people like, hey, you're not pressing hard enough. Like I am. I just turned off pain. So like when I get the plantar fasciitis people, I get a lot of chronic pain like autoimmune, MS, fibro people. Like I can't cure that, but I can treat your symptoms and keep it a 2.
So this back pain is a symptom of an autoimmune disorder?
It can. I'm not saying you have an autoimmune.
No, I know.
We
I-
went straight to Dr. Google
Yeah,
again there.
right.
No.
we
No,
went way
I
up.
do have an autoimmune. I have arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah.
But so is that what's causing me? Oh, I'm not gonna. Okay, sorry.
The immune
We
system is just
diagnose
attacking
her right
your
now.
body.
Get on the table, Angela.
I can treat your pain. So we talk in class that our teacher said to avoid that during a flare-up. Some people have been getting results. It's one of the few things. There's only a couple of things I can't treat, like medical emergencies. Don't
Right.
come to me with a broken arm.
Right.
Please go to the hospital. Gout. That's one of those things I refer to acupuncture for that. That's uric acid crystals in the joint. But with you, I can definitely treat your symptoms, and just the immune system is attacking a part of the body. Rheumatoid arthritis is the most commonly known, but I've treated many different types of autoimmune.
But it's not an acute pain. It's like an ache, and it happens like. What I do to relieve it is I just lay flat on my bed. Like I literally will bend over my bed and just stretch it out or whatever I can. But it like happens right through here, and that's exactly what it is. It's like a dull ache where I feel like I'm holding like a basket of something really heavy, and it pushes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right.
I need to see you every 6 weeks or so
I need to
and to keep it that way.
But
to keep you well. Because you felt good last time I saw you, right?
Yeah, no, this is fairly new. So, but I have been scared because I'm scared of pain. You're scared of needles. I'm scared of pain because I know it's gonna hurt, and so I tend to avoid
I love
that.
it. I'm like, hurt me. 'Cause we're gonna get better at the other side of this.
I have people like that. Like I do deep tissue. Like they
I
think,
know,
like, how
that's
deep
why
do
I'm
you get?
scared.
Like literally the bone. So I will get on your bones if you want it deep. So I will.
You're not helping me here,
I will
Derrick.
touch your bones.
You're not helping me like feel any more confident about it.
Some
knows how
people
to
it
read
feels
the
good.
room, right? I mean, he can.
Some people it feels good. It's their spa, you know. And I adjust pressure for some people. I work within your tolerance. The more you can take, the better. But
Right.
some people have to be a little bit more gentle. I can overstimulate them. Some people you just touch them and they light up. It's just those
No, I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. Oh,
hypersensitive.
dang it. All right, we're going to break already. All right. Well, that went fast. So when everybody stay tuned. When we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio. Well, September is here, but it hasn't cooled off yet. So go ahead and head on over to Premier Couple Superstore anyway, because they have got a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. With Premier Couples Superstore, they don't pay those high prices because you go directly to the source. 5009 South OBT or shop online at premiercouples.net because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. I love having co-hosts in here. It's the best. All right. So before break, we started talking I confess that my back's been hurting. So I am going to just suck it up and I am going to come see you, Derrick. But before, let me just reintroduce everybody. So we're here with Emily Murphy with Elevate Health, as well as Derrick Brantley with Enbalance Bodywork. And the theme of today is pain and treating pain, and also some of the things that people might do to alleviate pain that might not be the best course of action. So in your world, Emily, talking about pain management, so do you find do you deal with women and men or just
women and men?
Mm-hmm.
And pain often comes a lot of times just as we age in general anyway, and as we're losing our hormones. So hormones are very anti-inflammatory and help protect our immune system, the things that Derrick is talking about. One of the reasons that men don't have as many autoimmune conditions or as much frequency as autoimmune is because of the testosterone in their bodies. So as women, as we lose our testosterone, or if we have really low testosterone levels, we are more susceptible to autoimmune conditions, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's, MS, and lupus. And so hormones are protective. As we lose them, we lose that protection, and we see more pain, more arthritis, more injury. The body doesn't heal as well and bounce back. And so, yeah, I mean, I see it all the time.
What is your average age of your client, Derrick? Yeah.
Me, working adults, I do get kids. They get athletes. I get growing
Based off
pains.
of injury? Oh, growing pains.
Growing pains, not too often. I have some older folks too, but it's really just 18 to 60, I would say. And I tell clients all the time, you need to get your hormones checked. Like, it's probably good to, I'm tired all the time, I'm sluggish. Like, to get
Healing slow, right?
Yep.
If you're slow to
So
heal.
do you see a lot of synergies between the work that you both do? Because you both work on the human body, right? And it's more, both of you are kind of like on a homeopathic kind of field of, let's treat this from the root cause versus let's do this and take this medication. It's going to have 15,000 side effects, and then you're on more medication to counter those side effects, and it's just a deep spiral right there. So when we're talking about athletes, so like with things like, because we talked about like frozen shoulder and things of that nature. So are a lot of these injuries from athletics, or is it really just kind of like whatever? Some people just
frozen
get it.
shoulder is a menopause symptom.
Is it really?
100% low estrogen, yes, that can cause frozen shoulder.
What is frozen shoulder?
Adhesive capsulitis. I tell people it's like having saran wrap around your shoulder. Like when you can't even move your arm without the whole torso moving with it.
I heard it is excruciating.
It is, and it takes a long time to heal on its own. I accelerate that process. I can get them out of pain. So I had a lady driving from Miami to get it done to the treatments because there's nobody that does what I do down there. And she's driving up every week to get her frozen shoulder. And unfortunately, it takes a while to treat it, but I can accelerate the healing process.
Based off of your what you talked about, like resetting the brain, we had somebody on that said that when the client was sound asleep, was that you? No, when the client was sound asleep, their shoulder had a full range of motion.
Yes, that was me. They'll put you under anesthesia, and when you take the brain out of the equation, you have your brain's locking it down. So there's
crazy.
When my teachers teach the class, they show the video. They have someone on full anesthesia. The brain's out of the equation. Machines are breathing.
So they're on anesthesia. Okay, right. So
the machines are doing everything for you, and there's just full range of motion.
And then as soon as they wake up, it's buckle down time.
Your brain's locking it down. I specialize in neuropathic pain. There's 3 different types. You have inflammatory pains when you stub your toe and it aches, and you have nociceptive when you touch a hot plate and you get that, oh my gosh, that's hot. Neuropathic pain is when your brain takes a snapshot. So if you ever had like an old injury, like you roll your ankle, even after it heals, it still aches years later. You have that old injury, your brain, I reset that, I turn those off because your brain does remember. It takes a snapshot, what we say.
So it's your brain remembering an injury that's causing it to ache long term.
Protect
and
it.
then creating other movement patterns that aren't good for you, right? And it can create other pain.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you
Pain
mean?
spasm, pain site.
Are you talking about
You start trying to move around the pain. So you shift weight, and you'll be wearing down different parts of your shoes. Maybe you may feel aches and pains then in the hip because it goes all the way up the chain.
Right. So you're making changes to the way you do things to avoid the pain.
Right.
And it makes me think about the
6
time.
months later, now something else hurts. Yeah.
It makes me think about the time my steering was about to go out in my car, and so my steering was off, right? And so I just made up for it, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna hold the steering wheel like this. Tom gets in the car to drive it, and he's like, "What is going on with your steering wheel?" I'm like, "It's been like that." He goes, "It's not moving." He's like, you can move the steering wheel like this. And he goes, no, I'm like, you just have to hold it this far.
We don't have to get it fixed. We can just compensate.
I'm compensating for the fact that he goes, this is not good. So I'm guessing on your body, it's not good either.
No. And sometimes you have to retrain that movement pattern.
You mean once you've got it fixed?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because the body just goes back to what it knows. It always is going to avoid the pain.
Right. Wow. So what are some of the more serious injuries that you've seen? And when I say injuries, I don't just mean like actual injuries, but when people have come in and you're like, wow, you must be dying.
Injuries and diagnosis. I've had a few people. It's like, can I take a picture of your x-ray? Would you mind? Like just for my own studying and reference or some stuff, they come in like, I'm thinking to myself, wow, I've only read about this. This is very rare. They have a really rare autoimmune condition or something like that. I have some on my website, some testimonials.
What's your website?
Enbalance.com, enbalance.com.
Right.
So there's one, she's, I think 19. She has Behçet's, autoimmune, narcolepsy, Raynaud's, a few other things, POTS, and one more. So she calls herself a disabled person that has all of her parts. So I need to see her once a month the rest of her life, but her pain's at 2, not on 11.
Well, that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a really dumb question, just coming from some of the...
Never dumb.
Autoimmune. What does that even mean?
The immune system is attacking a part of the body. It's attacking itself.
And that's because of loss of hormones? Or
Possible. Some can stem from different stressors, right? There's something that happened usually or some deficiency, and then, right, you have the different names of autoimmune that correlate with the different body parts that are being attacked.
Right. And is that a hereditary thing, or is like a completely healthy person that basically doesn't take care of themselves? Are they more it's kind of like I think of diabetes, as somebody that doesn't take care of themselves.
And diabetes is an autoimmune. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune condition.
Oh, okay. So that's like autoimmune's kind of like the big guy, and then all these other things are underneath it.
Right.
And that thing's like, now the clock is like, I see it through the corner of my eye going.
I'm glad she's here because she can answer the doctor questions I can't, like the doctor
not
questions.
A doctor,
I'm not either, but
Right.
people ask me to diagnose them, and Ken's like, I can get in a lot of trouble. Like, I'm just a pain guy. If it hurts, I can make it not hurt anymore. I'm not diagnosing anything.
But when you come across people, I mean, when you would refer them out to somebody like Derrick, is a lot of it have to do with weight?
No, there's just so many variables. We have women that have conditions that they're at their goal weight. They're at an ideal healthy weight for them. Mm-hmm. It can be so many different things. It's really not something you can, and that's why really it's hard to diagnose, and it's hard for people, even when they run labs, sometimes antibodies and autoimmune things show up, and sometimes they don't, and they'll go from doctor to doctor, and some doctor will tell them, no, you don't have this, and the next person will say, yes, you have this. And it could just be a matter of flare-ups or antibodies, what they're finding in the labs at that time, just the snapshot of what they're seeing.
That does sound very,
so
very
it's very
difficult.
frustrating.
Right.
It's very frustrating, right? And it's hard because they don't have a lot of protocols either. So people like Derrick, I mean, that's when you're talking about treating acute pain and lasting results, I mean, it's amazing.
Because that's really, I do kind of put you in a category in my brain is for acute pain, pain solver.
Yeah.
Sure. I want to talk about that too, because let's talk a little bit about the difference between acute and chronic pains when we get back. So everybody stay tuned for more BaaD Radio. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Body Street of Winter Park. Experience the future of fitness at Body Street in Winter Park. Lose weight, build muscle, tone your body in only 20 minutes a week. Visit bodystreet.us, where fitness meets efficiency. And we are here with Emily Murphy with Elevate Health and our guest Derrick Brantley with Enbalance Bodywork. And actually, Did you say you've done, you know Stefan with Body Street, or do you?
Yes,
Yeah,
nice
okay.
guy.
Yeah, so Emily came and did the workout with me once, and I think you liked it.
I did. Yeah, the shock therapy workout. Yeah.
Shock.
Keep moving or you get the buzz.
Yeah, for sure. I went yesterday, and I like.
Was that why you're so sore?
Yeah, it's just like my
I was
abs.
sore.
And, yeah.
It was deep sore.
It's a good workout, but I don't just do that.
Right.
So I'll go to the gym on Monday mornings with Tom, and then I'll do that on Wednesdays, and then I'll go work out with him on Fridays. And so I make sure that I'm still doing the other things and not just relying 100% on that. So before break, I wanted to talk, I mentioned acute pain versus chronic pain, and I meant, so just go ahead and give us the definitions. I mean, I know what it means, but not everybody does.
Yeah, I mean, acute and chronic, the basic terms, acute is something sudden onset, chronic, it's years or months, decades.
And I consider it piercing. Acute pain to me is like a piercing pain.
That's
Is that
a good way
not?
to describe
Doesn't
it.
have to be though.
No?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different depending on what your issues are, your job. You know, I have people that are weekend warriors that like to do a lot of heavy weightlifting, and I have people that sit at a desk. You know, people that don't move. Some people might not like what Amy was saying. They don't have the best lifestyle. They don't exercise enough. They don't eat well. They don't. Those people, it's like I'm happy to accept your credit card, but if you ate better and slept better, you wouldn't have to see me so often. But sometimes it's their job. I have clients that they drive 1,000 miles a week for work, or sitting in a plane, travels.
Like truck drivers and whatnot.
Yeah, salespeople, they're always up and about, or manual labor. I love working with trades. I have a guy who climbs up in an attic, a couple times a day because he's a home inspector.
Oh, bless his heart. Is he in Florida?
Yeah.
And must tolerate some heat.
Yeah, as a king get.
but even going to the gym, going to the gym an hour a day does not even touch a sitting all day, right? And so it really, you have such a wide range of people's activity level and what they're okay with, and then they go test their body like you're talking about on the weekend, and yeah
absolutely.
It doesn't have to be stabbing though. Acute is just that it's happening right now and it's flared up.
Right. Well, like I said, I just know that how when I think of certain things, like to me, an acute pain would be like a migraine. And that's not necessarily true, but that's the way that my brain categorizes it. Whereas when somebody's in acute pain, they tend to call you a lot faster.
I think so. I get help texts 3 or 4 times a week. They threw their back out, as they call it. They working at a guy coming in. He's like, I was moving all weekend, and then he's in his 50s. He's not 19 anymore. Like moving heavy furniture, things like that. But the chronic people I see, I had a former professional football player from the 60s. Come in with a shoulder issue. How long has this been bothering you? 30 years. Oh, okay. He actually had a reverse shoulder replacement, and he had scar tissue and everything. He did his rehab like he was supposed to, but it aches. And like you have these people. I tease my 90-year-old, like, who was the president when you had this pain started? Like he's
Eisenhower.
Yeah, no, he longer than probably around there. Yeah, it's like
Truman.
A while ago.
But people will just deal with it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So crazy.
Yeah, I think that with like the chronic pain, people will more likely just put it on the back burner. This is more important. Where when somebody's in like a more severe pain, that's when they're more likely to make the call to get it done. I know that I'm speaking completely from my own self-experience because my back has been bothering me, but it comes and goes. It happens at certain times. Like when I'm like folding laundry, that's the weirdest time, but it hurts so bad when I'm folding laundry and I'm standing up and I'm just folding. I'm not doing anything strenuous. So it's just bizarre to me. But for me, and then this is so we're going to kind of go through this scenario a little bit, and then we're going to go back to what we were talking about. So it's not, like I said, it's not the type of pain where like I can describe it. It feels like it's like not my bones. It feels like it's like I said, I'm holding something super heavy and I feel like it's like pushing down on my back. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, I really get into your head. I want to know what you do, like how you use your body throughout the day. Do you have numbing, tingling, stabbing pains?
Actually, I don't. It's just my back.
That could be like nerve entrapment or compression. If bone's pressing on it, that's compression. Soft tissue can entrap a nerve, so you get the sensory and motor dysfunction. So you get the tingling, burning, numbing. Or people like drop foot, they can get drop wrists. They get the fingers, like median nerve. They get the claw hand. So things like that. It kind of helps me kind of pinpoint what your issue is.
Well, does it weird? Because I feel like sometimes if I breathe in really heavy, that it kind of alleviates some of the pain in my back. Because it's
Could be a diaphragm issue. Your diaphragm connects to your lumbar spine.
Is that something you can help with?
Yeah, I treat diaphragm. I teach people how to do it. Most people don't breathe correctly. They breathe through the apex of their lungs, not into their belly.
Really?
Stress will do it. So if you take it,
Tell me about that.
when I'm walking in, I'm evaluating you whether you're limping and then you're not breathing right, and they're breathing. 80% of people breathe through their chest for different reasons. So
I have never heard this.
the only people who breathe right are horn players, like trumpets, things like that, tubas, singers, and yoga people. Those are really the only three that breathe right. Most people don't. So,
are you aware of this, Emily?
Yes, because I was a breath holder. So when I started my healing journey and hormones 5 years ago, I realized, and I was in fight or flight all the time and just very stressed, just, with all the things that were going on.
Yeah.
And I took short breaths. I could feel it just right here all the time. I can't hold, I still work on it, trying to hold my breath for 30 seconds at a time. It's hard for me. It's hard for people that run at very high stress to do that and to calm their nervous system down enough. So I would, every time I caught myself holding my breath and my shoulders are up to my ears, I'd take a step back, put my hand on my stomach and start breathing. Sometimes I had to lay down to be able to do it and stop concentrating on whatever I was doing, work, whatever stress I was dealing with. But it took a lot of practice. It took me probably a year before I could do it in 2 breaths and get there. What I used to have to take a 5-minute break away from what I was doing.
And this can be caused by your diaphragm. And this can actually cause more long-term type. I know what edema is. Like, I know it when people aren't getting enough oxygen. This usually doesn't not cause that, like the COPD kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can help. You're relying on your secondary muscles of respiration, not your primary. So it's like you're driving your car. You're relying on your e-brake versus your traditional brake system. So and it tightens everything up here. So in people, like she said, fight or flight. So I tell them to put a hand on chest and their belly. When you breathe, fill the belly with air.
Okay.
Not the chest, belly. Feel the hand move. And we'll do things. You can like blow up a balloon, and it's like weightlifting for your diaphragm, and it forces your brain. Because with her, like, it takes 300 habits to make 300 repetitions to make a habit. It takes over 3,000 to break it. So you have to retrain your brain to breathe right. Just like if you have a stroke patient, they have to learn how to walk again. They have to learn how to tie their shoes. Same thing with breathing. You have to reteach your brain to breathe properly. Because when you see babies, they have this beautiful Buddha belly breath, right? Mm-hmm. But with stress and things like that, we learn how to breathe.
Buddha belly.
Buddha belly breath. The babies have that nice big breath in their belly. As we get older with habits and traumas and things, we don't breathe right.
That's actually something, and I've not heard that before, but that's actually really interesting. Maybe I'm not really thinking about it.
I'll help you.
I know that, like, whenever I do Body Street, like when I have to go through the pulse, blowing out helps me get through it, because at first I tried to hold my breath through it, like hold my breath through the pain, and they're like, you're just making it harder on yourself to get through that tense portion. So anytime I'm like, I'll breathe out right here. So that could actually be like at the center, or what might be causing my back pain is that I'm just, it could be. I'm not saying it is, but
I think I know what it is. It's just complex neuroscience. It's just it's a core issue. It's not strength, it's stability. So we talk about that in class. I have clients like a balloon in my office. So if you imagine a balloon here, it's not inflated. Mm-hmm. So that's everything else is locking down and attempt to stabilize on your back. So it's like you driving over a bridge. The balloon is the cable support.
Okay.
All the pressure is being put on the concrete structure. The cable support's not doing its job, so I have to reinflate that balloon for you.
Okay. So do you come up with these scenarios like just off a whim, because you're so good at analogies that I'm like that make sense to me?
Keep it super simple. So you're a genius in your business. You're a 6-year-old in somebody else's. I know enough about hormones to have a conversation, a very simple conversation over coffee, but I'm nowhere near what she is. That's why I say, here's a card, call her.
Right.
But I know enough. That's why I try to keep it simple so people understand.
Right. I love that. All right. Well, we're going to go to break. When we get back, we're going to talk more with Derrick and Emily. So stay tuned.
Welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Do you know what your sprinkler system did last night? Probably not. So now is a good time to get your irrigation system serviced by Ground Up Property Services today. And be sure to ask Rick Hall about a water sensor too, especially because we've been having so much rain. You don't want your lawn to get too much water. Call 407-468-4295 or visit groundupinc.net. We're here. We have a guest co-host today, Emily Murphy with Elevate Health, and our actual guest today is Derrick Brantley with Enbalance Bodywork. And about like the sensor, like we have now, ever since Ian came, our house flooded when Ian came through, like because we have a sunken living room.
So we had something called French drains put in so that when it downpours like that, it takes the water and it shoots it out to the front of the house, which is so nice. But if you don't have a water sensor and you forget about your sprinkler systems, you're going to be watering your lawn that's already overwatered. So last time we had a Rick on talking about that is a water sensor is simply a cork. Did you guys know that?
No.
Yeah, it's a cork that when it gets wet, it expands. And so when it expands, it turns that system off. And then when it dries out and it gets smaller, then it will go on again. So that is how scientific that is.
Simple.
It's amazing how simple it works.
I know.
Derek likes it.
Yeah. Well,
Simple.
we were talking about hydration, and you basically said that, when you're hydrated, you're nice and full. And then as you get dehydrated, you turn you get thinner and thinner. And that's when I think of that, I think of skin. Like when people are dehydrated, I feel like their skin gets thinner. I don't know if that's true or not. Kind of, sort of.
I don't know. I mean,
as people age, their skin gets thinner,
Well,
right?
yeah.
So
We lose elasticity in our tissues, and bones get softer. And weight, like exercising, I tell people lifting weights can reduce that. I just exercise, active, healthy lifestyle. That's my.
Are you talking right into that? You sound way light.
Sorry, is that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
I didn't want to kiss it, so it's
Yeah.
bring your beard closer.
Yeah.
Well, bring you got that deep barrel voice. Like
the
let's
beard hair
let's
gets
hear.
stuck in the microphone.
Well, all right. So in your practice, Derrick, how long have you been open now?
Since 2018. So
2018. So you opened pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID. Yep.
Right. And then since then you've gone through quite a few clients, right? So what are the types of clients that come back to you on a regular basis?
The people that have the more holistic mindset, the people, and there's a time and place for traditional things, but the people who would prefer to go to an acupuncturist versus what we would call a regular doctor, like, hey, I just want to treat my body as naturally as possible. The people who are athletes, trades, chronic pain people, those ones that see me regularly that come back. There's a lot of folks like plantar fasciitis. Once I fix it, I never see them again.
So that's not something that just that
I've had people cancel. Like, I feel great. Yeah, sure. Tell your friends. Okay.
Right.
Have a car payment.
Send some referrals this way.
Send some referrals this way. I got to pay the rent for the office, but it's a good. There's that saying: a cured patient's a lost customer, which is great for them. But it's always learning, booking new people, and word of mouth really helps.
Yeah. What is the most common thing that you see?
Low back pain, neck pain. A lot of the desk sitters, and I see people. There's a lot of things that can cause low back pain, whether it's sitting at a desk or an injury, car accident. But I.
Just weakness too, just general weakness sitting on your butt all day hurts your back. I mean, when we were talking about this walking in today, right? And the glutes atrophy and aren't working for you anymore.
That's your butt?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was saying that when you get old people, their butt tends to tuck in, and I'm like, where does it go? Why?
It's disappearing, literally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does that happen to everybody?
If they don't work out their butt, yes. But you were talking about how you feel like your back hurts during certain movements or situations. Mine was washing dishes and brushing my teeth. And so I threw my back out after a car accident when I was rehabbing it. I had washed the dog the day before. So I was bending down with the dog the whole, for 30 minutes or whatever, drying them off. And then went to brush my teeth in that position, sneezed, and I was done. It was a series of strain and events. And then looking back, anytime I've ever had any major back pain, I was super high stress. Do you see that? Do you see where pain correlates to people's
stress?
Oh yeah. Yeah, where you're looking back, you're oh my gosh, I was just so tense and all the things, and all it took was a sneeze, right? And a few situational movements. But
well, like I said, I can be lifting. Tom and I got a bunch of the fall decorations down, and I was carrying heavy boxes. It didn't hurt, but when I fold laundry, that's when I find out that it hurts. That's when it bothers me the most. So like I said,
I hate laundry. It might just be that.
This could be.
I hate it. It's the worst chore ever.
Well, I only do my own now. That everybody else is responsible for their own laundry. I just have to go looking for my laundry baskets because they're usually full of clothes somewhere. So let's talk about some of your patients, because I always like to hear stories about. I am a story person, and I like to hear stories about they are in the situation, they've discovered they were able to come to you. I know that there's been people that you've heard you on the radio that have pulled over, wrote your stuff down, and came to see you. So let's talk about some of your patients and some of the success stories.
Yeah, I mean, I've saved some people from surgery. I had a lady, I saved her from a bladder sling. She had a
How would you save somebody from surgery? Like back surgery?
Yeah, I get rid of the pain. They cancel their surgery.
Mm-hmm. Do you see that doctors tend to go straight towards surgery when people have back pain, neck pain, things like that?
They can. I mean, there's a time and place for that. I mean, I tell people if it's an emergency, if you crush a bone or if you have a bone sticking out of your skin, like, sorry, man, that's surgery. That's an emergency.
Right. But broken things.
Right. But most things, it doesn't necessarily have to. I mean, I've lost a few clients to surgery. I actually had a client recently. She was bone on bone in her shoulder. You could hear the shear when she would raise her arm. I mean, there's so much osteoarthritis and bone spurs. I got her pain-free, but her doctor did tell her, like, you do need a reverse shoulder replacement. I can buy her time, whatever degeneration is happening.
At least get her out of pain until that happens.
And I can help her rehab. So when she's getting in her rehab, she'll rehab a lot faster. So I make the PT's job easier. I make the chiropractor's job a lot easier. They can adjust. The adjustments hold. The PTs, they can do more strength training. They can accelerate the treatments a lot faster.
So you're a complement. Like your skills are a complement to helping people stay out of pain while they have to go through. Like, because I heard physical therapy can be a very, very painful process
it
for
can.
people.
Sure.
And how is Enbalance work in correlation with chiropractors and PTs?
Honestly,
yeah,
I think every chiropractor should have a therapist like me. So, like, I love them. They don't necessarily love me.
I think it's just because they don't really understand what you're doing. I think they probably see competition.
They do. They can learn what I do, but they don't. And I understand that chiropractor's a whole room full of people need to get adjusted. In PT, you have a whole room of people that need to do strength training exercises. They say they do what I do, but most of them, there's only a handful of people that do rapid. They're not doing what I'm doing. I'm all for chiropractic. I refer all the time. I'm all for PT. It's just as a whole, that's another. We're always drawing our lines in the sand,
but through BNI and stuff like that, you've got a lot of good partnerships with chiropractors.
A few, some of them. I've gone to some BNI meetings. A chiropractor offered me a job, and for maybe $15 an hour, it's usually what I was offered. But I told them I'm more interested in buying the business than I am working there.
Love it.
So yeah,
love it. That's awesome. I like that mentality. Now you can keep your 15. How much for your business?
I was offered $13 an hour. This is about 5 or 6 years ago. It's a whole thing in the way we're paid by chiros in massage school. They tell us don't even work there. In every CEU continuing education class I've been to, it's been a topic of discussion. Like I really want to help other therapists like me build businesses and to provide jobs for other therapists, so that not everyone has that business mindset or wants to actually be a business owner. Some people just want to be a really good employee, and that's fine. They can work for me.
Right. I mean, that makes total sense. So do you see you being at that point someday with Enbalance? Is like you having like yourself and then maybe some other people that know the same things that you know, and then chiropractor?
I'd want to bring on a chiropractor eventually. I think chiropractic care is great. I think people, they see me and they get an adjustment. They don't walk out, they float out. Out the door so that they feel great.
Right.
I would love to have a chiropractor on, a massage therapist on. I'm actually training someone that does what I do. I'm slowly training her so she can take on a few of my days so I can step out and do stuff like this more.
Right.
Than be in my office working on clients all day because I only have 2 hands and I can only do so much.
Right. No, that makes total sense. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to run to break. When we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio. Hello and welcome back as we launch into the second hour of BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. And we are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday. I am your host, Angela Smerito, and today we have a guest co-host, Emily Murphy with Elevate Health.
Thank you.
And also back to the show is our friend and sponsor, Derrick Brantley with Enbalance Bodywork. So we've had a whole hour and we were kind of talking about things. And so I'd just like to reintroduce everybody for the second hour. And so today we've really been talking about pain. And you guys are both in the health and wellness world. And I think that it's becoming more and more acceptable for people to take their health into their own hands and not rely on going to their primary care physician and not relying on
certain things. And so are you seeing that same trend in both of your businesses where people are starting to say, you know what, I think that there's a better way?
Yeah, and for lack of options from their primary care or what they get in an annual visit, there's not, for things like what Derrick does, I mean, there's not going to be, right? What are the other options? Take more ibuprofen, Tylenol, don't move as much because it hurts. You really have to, if you are determined to be out of pain, you have to keep looking.
Right. But do you see people, their main reason for doing anything is because they're in pain?
Yes.
Their actions.
That is one of the biggest drivers of human motivation.
Is pain, right? I started to watch that show Painkillers. It was about oxycodone, I think the drug was, and I couldn't watch it. It made me so sad because it was an enterprise that was based off of pain and how many lives it kind of destroyed.
Yeah, it's so sad.
But like for you, Emily, working with people on hormones and getting things balanced and things like that, what are some of the types of pain that you see people in?
Well, personally, myself and what I see in so many of our female patients, they're not sleeping, they're not feeling like themselves, they're gaining weight, they are very short fused, right? They blow up on just a whim of anything happening because they don't have the feelings like they used to have, where they could compartmentalize, they could keep it together. There's more anxiety, there's more pain. And so all of these things building up to not feel like yourself, to feel like you're out of your, what used to be a healthy body, or you could do things and not be in pain, now becomes every day is hard, from the time you might wake up or you just stayed up all night,
Right.
wrestling around. You're tired, you're probably relying on caffeine, you go into your closet and you don't feel good about the clothes you're putting on yourself. Your relationships in your house aren't great because you feel crappy about yourself. And then, you're drudging through your day because your energy is low.
Right.
So, there are solutions for all of those things. And, a lot of lifestyle habits also need to be cleaned up, and what we eat and how we manage our lives needs to be looked at. But then the other component is, what are you deficient in, and how can we help you with the hormones that you're also losing?
Right. And both of your businesses, balance seems to be, heck, it's in the title of your company. And that's really what it's all about, is getting your body back in balance, either
right,
like
we're
on a
just
hormone level
fighting.
and then on a physical level as well.
Yeah, we're fighting all the stressors that nobody had to encounter even 50 years ago, 100 years ago, right? All the things that drive up stress ages us. So, we are aging at a rapid rate because of all the things we're exposed to every day.
Right. And we don't want to, a lot of people, and then don't even get me started on the world of insurance, because that will definitely get us in trouble on here, because that's a quick, fast way to get pulled. So that being said, how does insurance work with both your businesses? Derrick first.
Sure. Insurance really doesn't cover me, and it's not something. I know a lot of providers that are going to the cash option. It's delayed claims, denied claims. A lot of physical therapists complain that they're spending more time on the phone arguing with insurance companies than they are actually treating patients. And I know a few that are really
it's a
good.
nightmare. It's
Just
a nightmare.
Cash. A lot of those places will offer you a discount if you eliminate the middleman, just pay cash at the door. Like we'll give you a discount if you can just pay cash. It's a lot easier. And a lot of they don't reimburse well. From a business perspective, if I were to hire you, I would like to pay you well, but I can't pay you what I want to pay you because the insurance company doesn't reimburse enough.
So that's actually, I never thought about that,
Yeah.
that actually plays a role in what you can pay somebody.
The reimbursement rate is very low for insurance companies. So for providers, they're not really able to. And a lot of these people, the friends of mine that are chiropractors, they have a pretty decent student loan bill plus a business. And
Right.
I have dentists as clients say they have no choice but take insurance. But the first 10 years of their career, they're paying off student loans, even though they're making a nice salary. They're
Right.
paying that in business loan, and the insurance just doesn't really pay well.
Right. So have either one of you come across difficulties in that? And so the first question people ask you is, do you take health insurance?
I get do you take Medicare? I'm sorry, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't take insurance at all. It doesn't cover me anyway. So that's my way of avoiding a long conversation. It doesn't cover me. They don't have to argue why you should take it. I physically can't.
Do you
Right.
have people
And
walk away?
Insurance, yeah. And those are people that are, reliant on a system that is not there to care for their wellness. And that's all it is. Insurance, just like you pay insurance for your car, you don't go tell your insurance to reimburse you for the times you go through the car wash, for the gas you put in your car, for, whatever the tint on your windows. None of that is covered by insurance. And yet we expect with our bodies too, when I blew my knee out, I had a $38,000 surgery.
Oh my God.
My insurance paid for it right away. That's what it was for, right? I paid $5,000 as a deductible, and then that was it. I went in for surgery in 2 weeks. Now go into a doctor to get something, menopause related or perimenopause related, where I just don't feel good, or, could you give me some nutrition advice, or is there something? No, there's not a lot for how you are feeling, right? And these things that aren't really diagnosable, especially because we are so behind in our care for women in particular. They've been doing testosterone replacement therapy for a long time for men.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And it's okay if men lose their hormones and men lose their sex drive. Let's give them testosterone, Cialis, Viagra. But for women, it's okay, right?
Yeah.
It's okay for you to go without all those things and the benefits of testosterone. So
Yeah, we had Kelly with Amore on before, and we talked in detail about that. And I'm like, that is just not fair.
no, not at
fair
all.
at all. Derek's like, what are you guys talking about over
No,
there?
I'm just neutral party here. Just,
Right. But I mean, so we have to get out of the mindset that you're not going to your doctor for wellness. That's not, he's there for when you are very sick. He's there for when, you need a surgery, or you need something that is at that higher level, right? That isn't just your everyday wellness and feeling good and
but
vitality.
What about payment, though? I mean, because I've seen what doctors' offices charge my insurance company, and I couldn't pay that. The kids went to the dermatologist, and between the two of them, it was almost $1,700 for two people to go to a dermatologist.
Yeah.
I don't have $1,700 to shell out on that.
they'll charge a little extra. I mean, like with the cash option, like when I go to the dentist, I pay cash. It's a lot easier, and they charge me less. They give me a little bit of a discount because they know they don't have to go through, because they usually have to pay someone to do the claims, all that stuff. They avoid that, so it's reasonable, more reasonable for cash. I mean, healthcare is a challenging topic no matter where you live.
Right. So you've set up your pricing to help people be able to afford it.
To help, I very much undercharge for what I do. I've had people tell me you should charge $300. Like, I wish I could, and I should, but I know I have to keep it reasonable, because I know I've met professionals that price gouge, and they're charging a little more than they should, and it's hard on people because healthcare should be accessible for people.
I agree.
That need it. I understand it. Like, I run a business, I need to make a living, and I literally got on a plane and went to Canada to learn how to do this, so I should be paid a decent salary, but I'd make it reasonable. Almost every day I was like, hey, I don't need you for 30 minutes. I can do this in 15. I'll save you $30.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah. And like, hey, like and I've had some people that I know are a little harder, like, financial hardship, and they're really nice people. You leave me a Google review, I'll throw you. I did that for someone who worked at Panera. Throw me a Google review. I'll give you a 15-minute session. That's worth its weight in gold.
That's one of the benefits of being your own boss, All right. Oops. We're going to go to break, and when we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio. Well, welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar, with daily specials, an amazing kids menu, and college and NFL football on over 15 large TV screens. Plus, you don't want to miss out on Frogger's amazing menu, where everything is fresh, never frozen. And with 4 great locations, there is bound to be one near you: Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's, hopping with food and fun.
Yeah, boy.
That's right, baby. Okay, so we're here with Emily Murphy with Elevate Health, as well as Derrick Brantley with Enbalance Bodywork, and we've been talking about pain a lot. And on the last segment, we started talking about cost, because whether we like it or not, the cost of your services is going to play a part in the success or the failure of your businesses, and that's just what it boils down to. And inflation is crazy crazy right now, and so yes, like I said, I think you guys both should probably get charged more than you do, but then you would basically price yourself out of certain people that want to come see you, right? So do you guys feel that as like concierge type health becomes more and more popular, that you guys are going to have more flexibility, on your pricing?
I think so. I mean, I can, charge what you're worth, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm honest. I tell people what they need exactly. You pay for exactly what you need. Then if you need more, I'll suggest more. I mean, I have a lot of people, they get well, they get on like a maintenance plan as needed, and I can set my pricing from that point. And what people spend, we spend billions of dollars a year in our country for pain relief, whether it's a pillow, braces. I mean, what I'm charging is pennies on the dollar.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so how did you come up with your pricing scale, and how does that work? Do people buy packages like they do with, like, I think chiropractor, you buy like sessions or whatever? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I mean, for my current scale, just me. They come in as needed. You just pay as you go. Some people's like, do you have my credit card on file? Like, I don't. Just
you don't do that. So
no, just keep it on. Just pay as you go, as needed. And I'm honest. I'll shorten sessions. Hey, I don't need you for this long. Save you some money. So I'm honest with that. It incentivizes the referrals they give.
I agree. And I thought that what you said to help that person out was so kind.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Emily? How do you set up your pricing?
There's a little bit of a standard industry standard right now. And so because we're telehealth too, we don't have a lot of the overhead, right, that big clinics do. And, clinics in the middle of Winter Park or Dr. Phillips or, big, big storefronts and that costs more money. So we're able to pass those savings on to our customers. My goal and mission is for women to have accessible health care. Now, I know, though, that there are a lot of people that spend a lot of money on really dumb things, too. So I don't, when somebody, kind of gawks at our price, but they're going to Starbucks for $10 a day. They're buying energy drinks in the afternoon. They're buying, they have to have wine to calm down, sleep at night, manage what they think is stress or hormones in their body, and that's what they're using, right? What are the things that are probably also contributing to your lack of wellness that you could cut back on? The junk food, eating out too many times, that's causing extra weight. There are things that you can pull back on to have money for your wellness. So it is about making priority and things cost money.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have insurance, we have, pain practitioners and all the things that go into education. Like Derrick was talking about, we didn't just show up and say, like, we're just going to start charging people. There was a lot of back work and things that have to be in place.
You're justified for charging what you charge. And like, it makes sense. But you don't really have an industry standard because you're very unique.
No one's built a business like mine. I mean, I watched I forgot who it was, Tony Robbins. He was mentioning, he said, if someone truly wants your product or service, they'll find the money. Right. I had a guy, really bad pain. He's like, I've had people that are very wealthy come see me. And I said, if you could offer me 24 hours of pain relief and $10,000, I'd write you a check. Like these people that have that kind of pain, it's that bad. Like I will pay.
Right.
And I've had people get on a plane and fly. They're visiting family anyway. They're in town. They hear about me. They drive 4 hours. Like the people who do. I've had people complain about driving one exit up on I-4 about seeing me, and I've had people who flew to see me who get on a plane.
It's got to talk about the priorities, a person too. But like people sometimes they don't even pay attention to what they're spending their money on.
Right. And if they're not used to investing in their health, well, this could be new. But how long do you want to be in pain? How long do you want to deal with this? If I'm in pain, it's costing me money.
Right.
It costs me money every day if I don't have all of my focus where I want it to be. And when I was in pain, I have 6 herniated discs. My knee, we were talking about, Derrick was working on.
I know.
I mean, if I'm not able to do the things I need to do, it's costing me money. So why not spend the money and get where you need to be, where you're pain-free most of the time and focused on what you want to be focused on?
Do you guys think that sometimes it's just people don't want to face the facts? They don't want to change their lifestyle?
My teacher had a client like that. She had post-polio, and her whole life was centered around her wheelchair.
Oh, wow.
And she got her out of her wheelchair, but it changed her life so much that she stopped getting treatments and she went back into her. Some people, they want their cane, they want their crutch, they want have something to complain about. The Debbie Downers,
Not me, man. I want to be pain-free. I want to dance. I want to do all the things. The last thing I want to do is have something to complain about.
Yeah.
So I'm like fighting getting older with every ounce of energy I have, and not in a bad way. I am accepting my age, and I'm trying to do it gracefully, but I'm not going to go down so easily. I want to be fighting the whole way.
Yeah, me too. I mean, and you're about 10 years older than me, which is amazing. I mean, you take great care of yourself. And
well, thank
Yeah, but
you.
I
I am
understand.
going to come
I'm
see you
like,
there. He's like,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, about
There
that
she
back
is.
pain.
Yeah, get on over here. He did that with Ken Holiday has had shoulder pain forever. And like after one show, he's like, let me do this and this. And I took video of it and I posted a reel about it and I got a ton of views because it was so kind of like just random, and the fact that you can do that. So, but you do actually have like a brick and mortar.
I have a small room I rent, and I like what I like about what I do. I can work on people. There's a guy in my chapter. He tore his bicep tendon, like just completely off the bone. And
That's
what
Jamie
was he doing?
Jamie did it from his elbow.
Yeah, with him, you can do it from the elbow or the shoulder. His was the shoulder, and I forgot what it was. I fixed his pain in the parking lot. I didn't fix the tear. I mean, the tear is still there, but I got him out of pain. So and like in the parking lot just before I went to my car. So
You don't know
Before
what he
he
did?
had surgery.
No, I don't think he got surgery for it. A lot of surgeons now I've had people come in and surprise me, like, oh, you did your surgeon request surgery? He said, no. I'm like, oh, cool. There's some great surgeons that are conservative, like, hey, let's try PT.
But once
if
it's
that
off,
doesn't work.
I mean, there's no other fix.
True.
They told Jamie like he had to go in as soon as possible. They booked it within a week because it will, like the bicep will
Was that when
bind
you guys
up.
were at the beach or something?
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's some surgeons that are saying, like, you're not. I had a guy who tore ankle ligament, and he went to surgeon. He's like, are you a professional basketball player? He said, no. I said, then you're fine. Like, you just need to rehab it, do PT, you'll be fine. If you won't be able to be a professional basketball player, but as long as you're
all
not,
right.
you're
Was he like-
fine.
was he
I mean,
like-
that's-
You weren't on your way anyway. So.
right.
We'll be all right.
You're fine. So it depends on the surgeon. Some of them are more conservative. There's a lot of research we talk about in class. Like some people aren't even born with an ACL. So like they just do rehab and if you tear it, or like rotator cuff repairs, they have a likely to re-tear, and it's really, a lot of surgeons are finding like you don't really have to get it fixed unless you're a professional pitcher. perhaps.
Right. Yeah, I know. I saw your comment on Aiden's post. You're like, he should come see me.
Come see me. I can fix it. It's easy
Preventative,
fix.
yeah.
He's not in pain though. That's what I hesitate.
Pain does not mean dysfunction. Dysfunction does not mean pain. So
okay.
we talked about that in class. There's a guy who's bone on bone in his knee. He has no pain playing tennis, and his friend said, hey, man, your knee's bowed. And he went to the doctor, like, you need a knee replacement. And then there's the people that have the autoimmune, the MS, the fibro. They get blood. They don't have that diagnosis yet, but they get blood work and physicals and x-rays. And like, well, you're fine on paper. They say, great, I don't have cancer, but
I'm in pain.
all over. So their blood work looks fantastic, but like, I hurt. So
Yeah, that's like I said. You guys both work in an industry that like
weird.
there's no right and wrong. There's no one set and figuring it out. You have to really, really be skilled at what you do.
You got to put on your Sherlock cap and figure out every person is a mystery, and I have to figure out. It's like House, the show.
I love
Dr.
that
House,
show.
The mystery diagnosis. I don't diagnose, but you tell me your symptoms, and I can kind of figure out if I can help you or not.
That was a great show. Is that still on? They still do syndications of that?
They'll
I
have
know.
reruns, but it's been off the air for a while.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, well, we're going to run to break. When we get back, we have more BaaD Radio, so stay tuned. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. Words are hard sometimes. It just happens that way. We're here with Emily Murphy with Elevate Health and our guest, Derrick Brantley with Enbalance Bodywork. And we've been talking a lot about pain this segment. And yes, words are hard. Sometimes just spitting it out. Sometimes it's just difficult. So you just got to do it. You know what I'm saying? So we were during the break. I was like, okay, so we have two more segments. So what is really going to help drive your business? And we did talk about the certain types of is ailments the right word that you treat, like pains or
Pathology, repetitive strain. I just say pain. Like
Pain.
It doesn't really need a diagnosis. I mean, that's one nice thing. And people come see me. Other practitioners would demand blood work or diagnose or something like that, X-rays before. I don't do any kind of adjusting.
Well, that's why a lot of chiropractors are, because I told you like what Tom went through in order. We know what's going on. He's had the MRIs, he's had the X-rays, he's had all the things. We know he knows what helps it too, and that's the decompression machine. But just trying to get to where we could get on a decompression machine was going to cost us hundreds of dollars, like
Right.
near thousands of dollars by the time everything was said and done.
Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to cover their backs, and I get that. That's fair. I mean, if someone's going to do a more fast thrust adjustment, they'd probably want to see x-rays, make sure nothing major is going on. Totally fair. With me, I don't do anything fast. There's no cracking. I get the people that don't like the crack. You know,
It freaks me out a little bit,
Yeah,
like that
that's fine.
neck pop thing.
They come to me,
Not for
and
me.
that's-
You
that's
like
fine.
it though?
No, not the neck. No.
Oh.
Yeah, I would say you can tell them to use an activator. They're trained in it. But with me, I do things more slower so they feel more comfortable. But yeah, I treat just pain if they don't have to. If you get into a car accident, hey, go to urgent care, get an x-ray, make sure you don't have a broken neck. But if there's no broken bones, I can see you that day.
So what type of pains do you treat? We talked about the one in your foot. So say the name again.
Plantar fasciitis.
Yes, that one.
Inflammation of the plantar fascia. The main symptom is when you wake up in the morning and you put your foot on the ground on hard floor, and it's horrible. I had a guy had it so bad he had to crawl on his hands and knees. People, they do injections, unnecessary surgeries that really don't work.
What causes that?
Inflammation of the superficial back line. So if you imagine
Is it an autoimmune
Nope.
thing as well?
just hyperactive mechanoreceptors. Basically, the pain volume is way too high and everything is just inflamed. It's really, I see a lot of issues in the calf and hamstring. I do need to treat the foot, but a lot of it's just a really tight calf. It pulls on the foot.
Right.
Well, the thing about pain is that it's a lot of times not coming from the actual place where the pain is.
Isn't that bizarre?
Mm-hmm.
So your foot hurts, and your problem might be in your hip.
Yes.
That
Yep.
totally baffles me.
For sure. Well, it's just your gait, your posture. I mean, I'll check people for pronation, supination, how you're walking. I look at like how your shoes are wearing out, and that causes issues. Someone like Emily complained about her right knee. She could have a left hip issue because she's favoring. Take pressure off that right knee. She's put more weight on her left hip. So I just treat
I meant that
everything.
what you were talking about earlier about compensating. That makes sense. I know that I was going through some severe pain in my feet, and like anytime I sat still or when I got up in the morning, like when I first put my feet down, I was in horrible pain, and that's when I found out that I had the rheumatoid arthritis and the autoimmune thing. But I'm telling you that as soon as I started to get my hormones balanced, I don't have that pain anymore. I just don't. And it's bizarre to me because it was like to a point where like when I first stood up, I had to give myself a few moments before I could start walking. And now it's just gone. And so that's...
And that can just be overall systemic inflammation that the hormones helped, right? That in yours was coming not from the calf then, right? Or something that was really tight. It was coming from the general inflammation.
Yeah. So that's kind of like you guys, like I said, are little problem solvers, Sherlock Holmes. So what about some of the other stuff? So you said back issues are the primary reason why people come to see you. That's like your number one cause.
Sure. Low back pain, neck pain, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, knee pain.
I'm guessing those are just like pain in the elbow, right?
Yeah, just lateral medial epicondylitis, just where the tendon connects to a bone.
She's loud because I'm like, no, that's very scientific, isn't it?
That's okay. Yeah, it's more of a there's compartment syndrome in the calf. Just it gets so restricted they can't get blood flow in their leg. Chronic compartment syndrome I can treat. Acute, they have to go to the hospital. I've only seen one case of that. It's quite rare. I haven't seen too many.
And so one of the biggest problems, I think, though, is that people don't think there are solutions for these things. They think, oh, it's just my knee. Oh, it's just my back. Oh, and there are plenty of solutions like Derrick and
but
other
if you go to the
modalities.
doctor, they're going to tell you probably that deal with it.
Right. If they can't cut or,
They'll send you to
operate.
pain management, injections, which aren't really good. I had a client, she was in her 40s. She had 7 surgeries on one hip and a full hip replacement. They gave me too many cortisone shots that destroyed her joint. It eats bone. They don't always tell you that, but she had way too many. And I'm sure she got a nice malpractice suit, but she was in her 40s with a full-on hip replacement when she didn't need it, where she shouldn't have had it because they gave her too many injections. A lot of pain management, they don't want those patients. I actually recently went to an urgent care. I had some chest pain to make sure I wasn't having heart attack.
You had chest pain?
Yeah, I had some chest pain. I actually found out it was costochondritis, which I can treat myself. Great. I just want to make sure my heart was okay. But when I went there, I saw brochures for chiropractors and other things. And I said, how many people come here looking for back all the time? They want pills. Like they want the internal medicine. They want the infections. They want the physicals, the blood work. They don't want those people with the pain. They shoot them out the door.
What'd you call that? Patient dumping?
Patient dumping. A lot of times a medical professional, they say, I'm going to find you a specialist. And a lot of times I can translate to, I don't know how to help you, so you're going to be somebody else's problem.
Gotcha.
So those are the patients that I want. I'm sure that's the ones that she wants as well. Because my doctor said I had plantar fasciitis. Well, you really don't. If I press on the bottom of your foot and if I have to peel you off the ceiling, that's plantar fasciitis.
Gotcha.
Full blown. And that's the one I tell them, hey, this is not going to feel good. You're not going to like me, but you will appreciate me after. And I promise I'll never see you again.
Right.
It's still not something that you have to deal with the rest of your life. It is not something that should keep you from playing with your kids. It's not something that should keep you from playing the sports that you love. Like as you get older, there are solutions.
Right.
For sure.
Well, I think that's what the problem is that we're told. I mean, Emily, how many times do people come to you and are told that there's nothing that can be done? That's
Right.
just
Their labs are normal.
their labs are normal.
They're fine. Everything's fine.
Right.
And you feel crazy. I know.
I meant, but they feel like crap.
Yep.
How that's like a regular
Oh,
thing.
every day. Every single day.
Right.
Yep.
And that's simply because that's what we're told is that you're fine, you're just your age, and that's like and you're supposed to accept that and be okay. Just like people are, if they don't know what to do with it, then they just kind of shrug. I mean, do you actually get doctors sending people to you?
I've had a few.
Uh-huh.
Word is getting around town. Like someone said, I gave my card to your doctor. Like I've seen this card before. Like people's like, hey, there really needs to be a muscle. I did a class with a chiropractor. He said there's no like muscle doctor. I mean, I don't work with muscles at all.
I
work
like
with
that. The
bones.
muscle doctor.
But you have a proctologist, someone who specializes in rectums.
Right.
But
You would think that you'd have
there's
one.
nobody who specializes in. I mean, a chiropractor and a
crazy.
PT could be close
Right.
to it, but nobody's
There's
doing.
butt doctors, but there's not muscle
Right.
doctors. That makes a whole heck of a lot of sense.
That's crazy. It is.
But it, like I said, it all really does come down to dealing with pain and people's perceptions of what's available and what's not. There are unfortunately a lot of people out there that don't know that there's people like you that exist. They've been trained that you have your primary care and that's who you go to. And if they're lucky enough, they refer you to somebody else that's in your network to deal with, your skin or your back or whatever. I mean,
Right.
will primary cares even refer to chiros?
Some do, sure. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, a lot of it, they don't want those patients like, hey, like because I've had clients addicted to pain pills. I had a guy come with a hip issue. He drove from Jacksonville and he's like, I had to go through rehab because I was addicted to pain medications and they offered me pain pills. Like, I cannot take this. I had to literally go through rehab to get off of it. So he does the CBD. He smokes marijuana. It's fine. Works.
Yeah,
And he came in
down
and
with
helped
that.
him with his hip.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I can't. These people don't want pain pills. Like, I'm a Florida addict.
They're so bad for you. I mean, I'm coming from the word, addiction. I can't even believe that doctors will prescribe these things, knowing what can happen. And it happens more than it doesn't happen. But yet they're still, and on top of that, you go to the doctor or you go to the pharmacist to get that thing. The one that's highly addictive costs $1. The one that's really good for you costs $80.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Crazy.
All right, I'm going to get myself in trouble here. So we're going to go to break, and when we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio. Welcome back, and I'd like to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, Bolts Legal. Fear no storm with boltslegal.com. Crazy Muscle Nutrition, located on 436 in Castleberry. Enbalance Bodywork in Lake Mary. Derrick Brantley is ready to help take your pain away. 407-801-8502. Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. And I'm super excited to announce we have a new sponsor. Get Me Automated is now on board with BaaD Radio. Ashley and her team are amazing at cover everything from websites, project management, to AI bots, and so much more. And so I want to thank them all for supporting BaaD Radio, because without the sponsors, we wouldn't be here. And I'm excited because I don't know if I've announced it or not, but just signed the contract for another full year with
Nice.
WFLA for BaaD Radio. So we're going to stick with the 2 hours. So it's going forward. So
Nice.
everything is good. And it makes me really, really happy because, like I said, it makes me feel special. So we have been here for the full 2 hours, just about talking with our guest co-host, Emily Murphy with Elevate Health, and our special guest, Derrick Brantley with Enbalance Bodywork. And Derrick has been sponsoring the show for over a year now, if not longer, I think, hasn't it? Maybe.
You just keep inviting me back so I show up.
Well, you do sponsor the show, whether you know it or not. It is. So we do talk about you on a regular basis. Actually, your name does come up quite often because, the first year we were with WFLA, we were in the space of a lot of things with like attorneys and home repair, but this year we've really had a high concentration of health and wellness, and it seems to be like at the top of everybody's mind because I think people there's very, very many reasons. One is the world of insurance, and then the other one is the world of like more homeopathic type of health with like herbs and people going more on the natural side of things. And then honestly, just people discovering that they don't have to live their life in pain, even if their primary care says, that
This is how life is.
this is
now.
how
Yeah.
life is. I remember when I had a doctor tell me that growing old isn't a disease, that I should just deal.
Oh, I remember that. We were so angry.
I was like, wow, really? I'm like, I feel terrible. And they're like, well, you're in your 50s now, so
Oh, I remember
just
that.
deal
And those
with
are the
it.
things we hear all the time. And I just like every time it shocks me when I shouldn't be shocked anymore. But you're just like, somebody really said that to you. Oh my
yeah. And what I've heard now about with hormones is they cause blood clots. Like when people, that is what they're saying to counter. What is your thoughts on hormone replacement and things like that? Is it causes blood clots,
Which
like
birth control does too.
yeah.
'Cause that's what it is, hormones.
So there
Oral
was,
estrogen.
yeah.
Topical estrogen does not.
Okay.
No
see?
chance of blood clots.
So here's the thing: is like so for a while in that world, and they were pushing hormone replacement. Once a woman hit a certain age, it's like you automatically get put on this. Then there was like this huge tide, and all of a sudden it goes to no, we don't want to do that because of blood clots. So it's so hard to know what the right thing is to do with your body. It is so hard. When for my whole life, it's eggs are high in cholesterol, don't eat eggs. Then it's like eggs are superfood. You want to eat eggs. And you're just like, oh my God, what do I do?
It's hard. It's hard. And science changes, right? As they get more research and, there's a big wave of, you weren't allowed or shouldn't eat salt or fats or sugars or carbs or protein.
Right.
There's been a trend for everything where,
Absolutely.
you do just have to keep looking out and testing and experimenting yourself and finding what works for you and what makes you feel good.
Pregnant women were told to smoke in the 1920s to calm their nerves.
You know what? That's right. Didn't commercials used to be done by like doctors back in the day? So, but I mean, honestly, you guys are both in a field where you help people and you help people manage their pain and live healthier, happier lives. And Derrick, so with Enbalance, so you talked a little bit about like how you see the future happening. So let's talk a little bit about that. So people can get an idea of, well, first and foremost, let's give your physical location.
Sure. I'm in the Phoenix Salon Suites building in Lake Mary. It's at 3801 West Lake Mary Boulevard. It's right by the BurgerFi in that plaza. So I'm there, and I have a little room I rent out of. I'm, like you were saying, keep the overhead down. I have this huge building. Why? I don't really need it. So.
But you've been in that location for a while now, haven't you?
Yeah, I think right after COVID I moved in. So
Okay,
May
so-
of 2020.
And so it's been sufficient for you. You see one patient at a time.
One person at a time. I have a lady I'm training, so I'll be training her today. So when I'm not there, she can be there. So I can rent 2 or 3 rooms and have some more people in there. Then I can eventually buy a building. And my plan is to have clinics because people like, hey, I live in Winter Garden. Do you know anybody here? Sorry, you got to take the highway.
Right.
Drive, but be happy to expand.
And what does the process look like for going? Do you do like a discovery call, or do you just say, hey, come in, tell me what's going on?
They book online. They'll have a little comment thing in the text. Hey, I have this, and this. It's just this one little intake form to fill out. Make sure there's no blood clots, broken bones, pins, screws, plates, pacemakers.
So talk to me about that. What do
Just
you mean?
need to know. I can work on hardware if you've had reconstruction. If you have
Hardware.
pins, hardware, pins, plates, screws, things like that.
That's what I have. Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to know it's there, and as long as it's not, it's healed. You did your PT and everything.
Right.
Any major operations. I had a guy with a bypass, like it needs, or pacemaker. Just need to know it's there. I just can't touch a pecs. I leave that alone. Same thing with like cancer ports. I had a lady going through chemo, so I just had to leave this alone because she had an open port. I just leave that area alone. I just need to know it's there. That's all.
Right. Do you set off metal detectors with your?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't.
I was
Titanium.
curious. That's strict.
I
curiosity.
wondered too at first,
Right.
but no.
So when you go through your training, though, do they teach you like how to work with people with hardware?
No, I mean they go like if you wouldn't massage it, don't wrap it. Anything open wounds, like weeping injuries, recent stitches, bleeding, like just it's a lot of it's common sense. Like
Right.
if you're bleeding, I'm not going to touch it. Like I'm not.
You're like, go
Please go to the
stop,
doctor. Go to the hospital.
stop whatever that is, and then you can
Yeah.
come back.
Right. I mean, I had a friend. She actually did a little testimonial for me. She's a therapist like me, and her really circulation issues. Her toes were like black, and I got
Oh my
worked on
gosh.
her, and like she got the circulation back. So there's things I can do quite a bit. I help people with circulation issues.
Well, yeah, we didn't talk about circulation at all.
What I do, vasodilation is a kind of a side effect of what I do. So it opens up blood vessels. It helps people. That's why I love doing calf work. It's painful to do, but I do it on everybody because the feet is the furthest away from your heart.
So it gets
But
the less amount of blood, kind
it's
of.
harder for your circulatory system to get blood down there as you get older. And it's just compartment syndrome is so easily prevented. It's just you feel this deep ache in your calf when you try to stretch. Runners get it a lot.
Right. I get not as much as I used to, but especially when I was pregnant, I used to get Charlie horses all the time. The heck is that? Just it felt like the muscle just turned into a big old knot.
Yeah, I mean, women can get the edema with I had a pregnant woman a couple weeks ago. I can see them once a month just to kind of take pressure off everything in the pelvis. I teach husband how to do some lumbar traction just to open up that spine. So I had one that's me and a chiropractor that specializes in pregnant women. So you have a 4-hour labor, just lather them in butter, push them out, just easy labor.
You were there?
No, I worked on her through her pregnancy.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I didn't deliver it. No.
Outside
my
there's a
pay-
whole nother level of service there.
Outside my pay grade.
Wow,
So.
right. I can imagine you doing something if some woman goes into labor. That would be
That
horrifying.
actually almost happened when I was just learned this. There was a very, very pregnant, like 9 months, like ready, and she canceled her appointment because her water broke.
And you're like, oh my God.
Like
thank
an
you."
hour before she was supposed to come in. Like imagine her water breaking on my table. Like, oh my gosh.
Panic mode.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're coming towards the end. So Emily, go ahead and give everybody all of your contact information.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Go Get 'Em Coach. I'm on Facebook. You can find us Elevate Health and Hormones on Facebook. My free Facebook group is Health
Oh, that's
Hormones.
right.
and
You've got a
Done with
lot of people
Dieting.
following you now. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I do hormone training and things, talking about different topics in there that women are dealing with. We've got a few men in that group too. They sit and listen and take it in too. And you can reach us at 321-475-4844 and find us at elevatehealthandhormones.com.
Thank you, Derrick.
Enbalance Bodywork, enbalance.com. And it's a Phoenix Salon Suites building in Lake Mary. It's 3801 West Lake Mary Boulevard.
And you can reach out to me, and I have both of their contacts as well. So a huge thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for tuning in. Have a great week. And remember, everyone, to support local.